Kanu, of course, lost it, the match winner.
Kanu was a gambler, but I know him for a long time. And
They got to the final, but was responsible in that cruel way of penalty shootouts.
Greatest impact? Looked here not, but Kanu had a massive impact here.
Now, as you've heard about him, he was a star in the making. I remember when I was a kid, every time we played ball under the sun, dusty feet and scraped knees, someone would shout, "I'm Kanu," and another kid would shout, "I'm Okocha," and the game would begin. Okocha had the flair, sure, but there was something about Kanu. The way he moved, the calm, the control, the magic in slow motion. We didn't just play football, we reenacted him. Yet funny enough, his name, it's not said as often as it should be these days. Kanu was so good. They weren't just talking about him in Nigeria, they were talking about him in Amsterdam, Milan, London. But what made him different wasn't just the trophies or goals, it was that he played with something deeper, something almost spiritual. This brother wasn't built like your typical striker, long legs, narrow frame, quiet face, but once the ball touched his feet, it was like jazz, smooth, unpredictable, genius. I've watched all the documentaries on YouTube, I've seen all the match rewinds, but still, nobody seems to really tell his story the way it should be told. The truth is, Kanu's story isn't just about football, it's about faith, pain, resurrection. It's about how a boy from Owerri defied death, literally to become a king on the pitch. So in this video, we're not just going to talk about Kanu, we're going to relive him, his moves, his moments, his magic. The forgotten giant of African football, the man who glided across history with grace, and left behind a legacy written not just in goals, but in heartbeats. There are some players whose stories go beyond goals and trophies, stories filled with pain, miracles, and magic, stories that make you pause, smile, and believe in something greater than the game. Nwankwo Kanu's story is one of those, a tale of grace, courage, and quiet greatness. The beginning, Owerri, Nigeria. It began in Owerri, in southeastern Nigeria, on August 1st, 1976. Born into a humble family, Kanu wasn't blessed with size or strength at first. He was long, thin, and almost awkward to look at. But from the moment a ball touched his feet, something clicked. His elegance was unmistakable, his imagination untamed. He played in the streets with nothing but barefoot dreams. That was where his gift was born. Not taught, not trained, just there. And it shined. Nigerian roots, Federation Works, and Unwanyanwu National, 1991 to 1993. His journey started at Federation Works FC in 1991. Just a local club, but it was enough for eyes to notice. Soon, he joined Unwanyanwu National, one of Nigeria's top sides at the time. He was still a teenager, but his flair already caused whispers. Then came the 1993 FIFA U17 World Cup. Kanu scored 5 times, leading Nigeria to lift the trophy. His name crossed oceans, and Europe came calling. The Ajax Awakening, 1993 to 1996. At just 17 years old, Kanu arrived on Amsterdam's misty canals in the summer of 1993, his suitcase heavy with promise and a heart pounding with nerves. The transfer fee, £250,000, felt almost like a fairy tale bargain for an African teenager few in Europe knew. Yet Ajax's famous youth academy, De Toekomst, the future, had a sixth sense. They saw in Kanu a rare blend of silky technique and unshakable calm. He stepped onto the grass at De Meer Stadium in a sea of white, the Ajax crest glinting on his chest. Training alongside Patrick Kluivert and Jari Litmanen, he often found himself on the bench at first, watching those seasoned stars dance with the ball. But whenever he entered the pitch, defenders seemed to forget their roles. One gentle feint here, a quick backheel flick there, and suddenly, space appeared as if conjured by magic. By the 1994 to 95 season, under the visionary guidance of Louis van Gaal, Kanu's confidence blossomed. Ajax adopted a fluid 3-2-2-3 formation that thrived on rotation and pressing. In this system, Kanu's lanky frame and unexpected turns became a weapon. He scored crucial goals, an instinctive header in January against PSV, a delicate chip in March against Feyenoord, and each time, the Amsterdam faithful rose to their feet in awe. That season, Ajax did the unthinkable. They went 38 games unbeaten in the Eredivisie, lifting the title with room to spare. Then came the crowning achievement, the 1995 Champions League final in Vienna. Though Kanu didn't start, he watched from the bench as his teammates dismantled AC Milan. When he climbed the stairs to the podium for the medal ceremony, tears shimmered in his eyes, proof that even the shyest boy from Owerri could stand atop Europe. By the end of his Ajax journey in 1996, Kanu had played 54 games and netted 25 goals across league, cup, and continental battles. He collected 3 Eredivisie titles, the Champions League trophy, and even the Intercontinental Cup in Tokyo. Yet more than hardware, he left Ajax with something priceless, the belief that his artistry belonged on football's grandest stages. And that belief would carry him through the most challenging chapters of his life: Inter Milan and the fight for life, 1996 to 1999. In 1996, Inter Milan bought Kanu for £4.7 million. It was supposed to be the next big leap. But then, everything stopped. During his medical, Inter's doctors discovered a life-threatening heart defect. He had to undergo open-heart surgery. Football stopped. Life itself hung in the balance. But he came back. 6 months later, Kanu returned to the pitch. Not many could have. He made only 12 appearances, scoring 1 goal. But that goal, just playing again, was a victory no trophy could match. Arsenal, the Prince of Highbury, 1999 to 2004. In 1999, Arsene Wenger took a chance and signed him for £4.15 million. It would prove to be one of Arsenal's sweetest chapters. His first few months were electric. In February 1999, against Chelsea, Arsenal were 2-0 down. Kanu stepped up, hat-trick. The last question mark, a ridiculous curler from the byline. Highbury erupted. From 1999 to 2004, he made 197 appearances and scored 44 goals. He won 2 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, and was part of the legendary Invincibles in 2003-4. He wasn't always a starter, but when he played, the game changed. He didn't sprint, he glided, he didn't blast, he passed the ball into the net. Watching Kanu was like watching poetry on grass. There was a certain magic in the unpredictability of his touch. One moment he'd receive the ball with his back to goal, surrounded by defenders, and the next, he'd twist, turn, and thread a pass nobody saw coming. Fans held their breath when the ball reached him, because with Kanu, something different always happened. And off the pitch, a gentle soul. He smiled more than he spoke, but when he did speak, it was wisdom laced with humility. In a dressing room of stars, Kanu stood out, not with volume, but with presence. A quiet prince in North London, whose moments of genius still echo through the marble halls of Highbury. West Brom and Portsmouth, the gentle warrior, 2004 to 2012. In 2004, Kanu arrived at West Bromwich Albion with the air of a seasoned explorer stepping into uncharted territory. Though the statistics read 58 matches and 9 goals, those numbers barely capture the subtle sorcery he unleashed on damp, windswept nights at the Hawthorns. Defenders found themselves mesmerized by his languid first touch, an almost hypnotic lull before he struck. Each appearance felt like a fleeting dream, a sidestep here, a no-look pass there, leaving fans whispering his name in reverent tones. But it was in 2006, under the floodlights of Fratton Park, where Kanu's legend morphed into myth. Joining Portsmouth, he brought with him a quiet gravitas, like a wise elder joining a youthful quest. Over 168 matches, he scored 29 goals, but more importantly, he infused every game with a sense of destiny. His presence alone shifted momentum. Midfielders instinctively looked for his calm, pocketed runs. Strikers fed off his unspoken vision. Portsmouth's rise felt inevitable, as if guided by an unseen hand. Then came May 2008, and with it, the most intoxicating moment of all, the FA Cup final against Cardiff City. As the ball fell to Kanu in the penalty area, time seemed to bend. He didn't rush, he didn't flamboyantly faint. He simply tapped the ball home, and in that single motion, he delivered Portsmouth its first major trophy in nearly 7 decades. The celebration was more than jubilation, it was catharsis, a beautiful vindication of a man who had battled death and returned, not just to play, but to enchant. Nigeria, the pride of a nation, 1994 to 2011. Wearing the green of Nigeria, Kanu was majestic. He played 86 times, scoring 13 goals across 17 years. He featured in 3 World Cups, 1998, 2002, and 2010. But his finest hour came in 1996 at the Atlanta Olympics. Against Brazil in the semi-finals, Nigeria were 3-1 down. Then came Kanu. He scored twice, including the golden goal. Nigeria won 4-3. In the final, they beat Argentina, Africa's first Olympic gold in football. He was just 20. He also played in AFCON 2000, finalist, 2002, 2004, 2008, and 2010. He wasn't always the top scorer, but he was always the calming presence, the leader, the symbol. Beyond the game, the heart foundation. After his heart surgery, Kanu knew he had a mission beyond football. He founded the Kanu Heart Foundation in 2000. The goal? Help children across Africa get life-saving heart surgery. To date, over 500 lives have been saved. He didn't just win games, he gave life. He gave hope. Nwankwo Kanu was never loud. He didn't chase headlines, he just played with elegance, joy, and a quiet sense of destiny. From Owerri to Olympic gold, from open heart surgery to FA Cup glory, Kanu's story is more than football. It's about faith, fight, and finishing strong. Some players win matches, others win hearts, and Kanu, he did both, with a smile that never faded.
It's a similar celebration from Kanu. Two goals for Kanu.